the one with the art of the repartee.
Okay.
Yeah, your opponent says something, and you quickly get something that he said, which is not maybe even wrong, but something you can comment on using the beauty of your language, and everybody claps for you from both sides of the house.
Yeah.
But that's what we should develop, how to use language beautifully, because language, the human being is the only known creature that has the power of language. So use it, and use it well. And that is why I like writing, I like conversation, and I like discussions, and I like the use of words. And civilized man really likes the use of words. So what we should do is to encourage people to think, to read, and like I'm saying, to have the art of the repartee, being able to return words. But
So your violence must be in words,
beautiful words, not violent words. So because there could be violent
Absolutely.
words, but then beautiful words. That's why I keep repeating the art of the repartee. How you can respond to even an
Well, there are some
insult.
who say that maybe we are not primed for the Western style democracy. And if I say Western style democracy, I'm referring to that mix of the British and the American system we have, which in essence is built on difference in policy, difference in opinion. So if, for example, Cameron speaks and the Labour leader has to speak, he has to find everything wrong with what Mr. Cameron says. But they don't split hairs and say that means that the country is divided. I think the challenge with Ghana is that there's not enough education, and there's a lot of tribal sentiments brought in, and some of the issues are not discussed to their logical conclusion. But the difference itself that politicians express should not be an issue.
But in these discussions too, we shouldn't be ahistorical. I keep saying that sometimes we don't try to find out the causes of things. You see, when I was growing up in the First Republic, there was civility. Coup d'etats often bring about bad language, because when you do a coup d'etat, you must necessarily find fault. So the culture of coup d'etat also creates a culture of fault finding, of insult, of disagreement, of either you are with me or you are my
or my enemy.
You see, so we have also to exercise the coups that have brought us this far. The 66 coup didn't do us any good. The 72 coup didn't do us any good. The 81 coup didn't do us any good. We must, as a people, accept some of these historical facts. Well, we can't say they didn't happen. They happened. They are part of our history. But we should also recognize the harm they've done to us before we can start making the corrections. Because I still remember when Achampon did his coup, he kept referring to and disgruntled politicians, but you were doing politics. You even wanted a union government. So we should look at our history, and then we should be able to pinpoint just when some of these things started. Causation is very important in a discourse about how a country should move. I put that blame squarely at the doorsteps of the coups we've had in this country.
I have heard people say that if there's any problem with Ghana, we should blame the middle class. Middle class because they are that sort of link between the two groups, the political elite on one hand, and then the for the want of better, the proletariat on the other, because you are the one who pays the school fees, you understand what is going on, and you pay taxes too. So you should demand more from the policy maker, the politician, and you should also do your best to influence the policy that leads to street system, the kind of education we have. But a lot of the middle class in Ghana don't really seem to care. They pay their school fees, or I've even read articles where we've been told that they prefer private solutions to public problems. So you've heard this before, where for example, if the Kolebu is bad, you pay for your wife to go and deliver at a big hospital. If the Ayawaso cluster of schools is bad, you send your child to maybe SOS
20 miles away.
If the road is bad in your area, you don't mobilize and talk to your DC, you just get a 4-wheel drive and get on with it. So and I said this on your program, that the problem is that the middle class, people like you and I, who have some education, who should know better, who pay taxes, who should tell the politicians the right thing to do. We don't care. I mean, maybe you're right, but we don't care enough to instigate any kind of change, either because we are too timid to be branded, or we are too comfortable to be bothered. So that's where it lies, because you don't. You may call me cynic, but I don't really expect politicians to want to change a system that so profits them. If a politician is benefiting from people's ignorance and the fact that people in a particular region think that if they don't vote for him, it means they've done something wrong, and therefore he writes on that, why do you think a politician will want to change that system that is benefiting him? You get my point. Why do you think a politician is going to change a system? I think it's we who pay taxes who feel that the system is not working for us. We are the ones who are supposed to change the system, but we are too docile, too unconcerned.
I agree with you, Bernard. We have a very lethargic middle class. Very, very lethargic middle class. And what the middle class has perfected is how to accommodate problems and not to solve them. Like you're talking about. You know, if there's a problem, we don't deal with the problem. We find out how we can accommodate the problem and work around the problem. The last thing that comes into in the mind of the middle class is, how do we actually solve this problem? You know, let's accommodate, let's work around it, because we have the means to. If the power fluctuation is so bad that it's destroying things, let's buy stabilizers. If we don't water, let's buy water tanks, you know. So nobody goes to the root of really tackling the issue. So I think, and I agree with you 100%, I think the middle class is not as a very active middle class when it comes to pushing a national development agenda, because they have the means to have their own little comfortable space. So why go beyond that? And the reasons, I think you said both. Either you're afraid to be branded, or you're too timid. What did you say? I think it's a great soundbite.
Yeah,
timid
too timid to take a position, or too comfortable to be bothered.
To be bothered, you know.
Yeah.
And that's it. Because the other point is that we have politicized everything so much in this country that anything that you say will be giving a political color.
But KSM, I sit here and I say, for example, that I think there should be an inquest into the president's death, or whatever word you want to use. People will brand you.
Yeah.
And so what?
And so
if because even if you don't do anything, you are branded already.
Yeah.
So why should the fear of being, because there are many people I know, and again, as a journalist, when you meet people, when you meet religious leaders or intellectuals, they talk a lot about Ghana. They pour out their hearts to you, and you say, "Okay, let me give you 5 minutes to share your views."
Yeah.
No, I don't want to.
Yes.
So how do you expect things to change if you feel that for you will just be comfortable, and I should go and put my neck out and see everything?
Yeah.
A friend of mine, actually still on the middle classes, says we are intellectually lazy. Kweku says we are intellectually lazy. He even says in private conversations, if you notice, we never arrive at conclusions. Yeah. You start talking, someone will cut in. You can never complete a sentence. So sometimes you finish private conversations and you are like,
what did I talk about?
Yeah, what did we talk about? What did we arrive at?
Yeah.
Or even publicly, if you are trying to explain a position, you may be told that, oh, you are talking too much or something. We don't like going to the end of discourses. But that's very, very important for us in the middle class. Go to the end of a discourse, arrive at a conclusion, find out who was right, who was wrong. Not for blame making, but for forward motion. So, can there be backward motion? Forward? Yeah, I think so. I think.
Okay. Now we're going to ask you listening to give us a call or send us a text message or join us. We have a few people who are viewing us on Google Plus, so they can actually see us. See Haruna sipping his tea. You are very British.
Bernard, I'm very upset because if you're going to put me on Google, I should have brought my makeup artist here to make me up before I go.
This is radio.
No, but I must make a confession, Bernard. I'm an Anglophile.
I know. I know. You are. You drink your tea.
Yes.
You watch PMQ's Prime Minister's Question.
I know. You know.
So
you see,
I followed the promenade concert.
You are part of the middle class. Anyway. So if you want to contribute to this show, I'm going to give you the chance. You can call us on 0302 230075. I think the main theme still is, what do we do different? We all agree that even though the funeral was organized well, there's a lot more we need as a people. The level of conversation must improve. We must stop the insult and focus on the issues. We must let's not be personal, but let's be principled and that kind
creative.
Of thing. Exactly. So let's your comments be along those lines. I know a number of you will be itching to talk about what the Ghana Medical Association has said, which is fair game. If you want to comment about the GMA's call for an inquest as well, I would allow you to. So the numbers are 0302 230075, 0302 030226013 and then 0302224959. I'll bring in a couple of viewers or listeners on Google Plus as well. But let me start with Samuel, who's calling us from Dowenya. Good morning.
Good morning.
Samuel, please turn off your radio or turn down the volume. It's giving us feedback.
Yeah, is it okay now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, thank you very much for the opportunity. Your program is so insightful, and I just wanted to contribute to it. Now, the middle class, I think we are the cause of and the woes of most of our problems in Ghana now. The reason being the phrase that you use, too timid, okay, to be branded, or what was the other one? Too comfortable.
Too comfortable, yes.
To be bothered. Now, if we decide not to take our role, then those who are less educated, less capable, will take the role up. And what do we see? That is what we see. And then we sit down in our comfortable chairs, and then we'll just criticize in our mind and do nothing about it. It's about time the middle class decide to pay the price, like people like Nkrumah and the rest did, because you could see he's a middle class person, but he will take the insults, but he will take the criticism. But at the end of the day, he knows better, and he pushes for a developmental agenda for the betterment of his people. And we should start sacrificing.
Okay.
The word is sacrifice. We are not sacrificing.
Thank you very much, Samuel. Thank you. Let me go to
Okay.
Marcus in Agunan Sabah. Good morning, Marcus.
Good morning. How is it?
I'm fine, thank you.
On the question of the dove that landed on the widow's car, I was quite surprised at your contribution. So I am not a politician, but the common sense approach, in my view, is that the Vice President has a thinking cap to give an interpretation, just as a radio presenter, as you are, also has his thinking cap to dispute it. But why only the widow's car? And no other person than Hillary Clinton. He's not a Ghanaian. He's not a politician in the Ghanaian sense. But he drew the attention of these people. But look, to give the chance to somebody to interpret this as idiotic superstition is quite unfortunate. And then you also went on to call it petty non-factual. Hey, we have come so far that those of you who have special privileges of speaking on air, consider the sensibilities of those of us who listen. The Vice President, to the Vice President, I would say it is sensible to be wise. When fools drag you toward